Bhuswaha Agnihotra Namama Vatswaha Ayurvedam Namama Swatswaha Suryaya Idam Namama Bhurdbhuva Swatswaha Prajapataye Idam Namama.
Hi, welcome everybody. This is Dee Downs here at Shanti Atlanta, located in Conyers, Georgia, and you are now watching Climate Change in You, the Solution. I'm here with my teacher, Sri Charles Davis, Shanti Villa Institute, and Heal the Atmosphere Association. So we're gonna start in a little bit. We did a little fire here, a little Homa therapy fire, to start off our talk, to begin the healing vibration before we start our talk. So without further ado, here is Sri Charles Davis.
Greetings everybody, and we welcome you to Climate Change and You. We hope you enjoy our show today. We're going to get more specifics about the different things that the climate change affects you with. We'll start with the marine life, we'll start with the soil, and we'll go on like that. So Dee will suggest some topics, and we'll answer as best as we can. And I'll suggest some topics to Dee also, so that she can answer these things. So if I would say to you, Dee, what about the soil? How does the planet affect the individual as a soil? Then we can start off by saying the food, which is one of your favorite things. So just tell them that.
Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking various topics that
I mentioned food. The soil.
The soil. Anyway, we're going to just break down each topic, and so a lot of times people are wondering when they get certain illnesses or things like that, but there's certain cancer-causing bacteria in the soil because we're not doing traditional natural farming. And so there are certain particles that get in there and they fuse with metals and they break down the composition of the soil. And so when you have in conventional farming all the spraying of the pesticides and all of these practices that are not good for the soil, and we're eating the food that is our medicine. As we know, food is our medicine, and in soil there has to be a unique balance of the correct amounts of bacteria for soil to be nutritious, so that way it can put all the nutrients to the root systems of the plants, and so it can grow plentifully. So when the soil is messed up, you really are messing up not only with the food that we eat, the food that the animals eat. You mess up with the worms, you mess up with the insects and things like that. You have any more comments about soil, Shri?
No, I think you did pretty well about it. But some of the challenges now that the scientists are having with that is that certain diseases are forming in the soil. And those diseases that are there, they're not able to eradicate them. So that is one of the major challenges that is happening that you're not being told about. One of the most prominent things that you're told about is this Roundup, this kind of stuff like this. So I can mention that because everybody's talking about it around the world. Now, what can you do? Well, we're saying climate change in you. What about the ash residue from this Agnihotra? When you do Agnihotra fire, sunrise and sunset, the ash residue becomes very powerful because it has cosmic energy in it. And the cosmic energy, of course, comes from the sun. So if you take this ash, you see, and you put it with the seed in the beginning, the seed becomes fortified. So one basic technique we use to counteract the effect of the soil is we take a seed and put it into cow manure and let it almost get completely dry. When it does that, it puts a wonderful experience within the soil and within the seed itself. So we ask to call in, ask us about the different plants and the farming techniques. We call it Homa therapy farming. And this farming technique increased the yield 300%. And that's awesome. And at the growing time, if you say the growing time is like 90 days, we tell somebody we can cut it down to half that. So these are the type of things that's out there for you to tell you when you deal with climate change and this is what you can do. This is how I can combat these different things. So also, you have the birds. What could take place with the birds? The birds are in this climate change, they're in the heat. So the heat dries out the oil in the bird feathers. And sometimes that's why they have these problems. I think someone contacted us yesterday and told us about all the birds they see just falling and dropping and no reason. We say it's all related to climate change. And we have an antidote. Years ago, we used to spend time in different types of laboratoriums, you see? We used to spend in the sanctuary, bird sanctuary, and just did the fire just for the birds, So here at our place here in Conyers, in the place we have Chanterville, in Tuskegee, the birds they fly all over the place. There's not many types of bird that exist in that area that we doesn't see. They grow and play around and have fun at Shanti. Even the owls late at night we talk about like this. So here at Conyers, I think Dee can share with you some of the birds that she's seen in this area. So,
yeah, what happens is when you're doing Agnihotra, we do it at sunrise and sunset, you'll see a whole plethora of animals that you may not see in your area. I see a lot of red cardinals. I mean, a lot of them. I see tons of dragonflies. There's a wild turkey that comes around, but there are lots of birds that come around because they're happy, because when you're doing Agnihotra, it's a way for you to purify the air, purify the soil. We were just talking about soil earlier. And of course, the animals, the insects, the trees are rejoicing because you're feeding, you're giving back to Mother Earth, as opposed to just taking nutrients out. You have to put things back in. That is the balance of nature, and we're not very balanced right now. So if you do Agnihotra, sunrise and sunset, we use a pyramid. Let me put the camera back down here so you can see. We use a pyramid, a copper pyramid. We use cow dung. Let me show you the cow dung. This is the cow dung. We use ghee. Let's see the ghee. And then we use just regular brown rice. Just use brown rice. Can you see that? Yeah, there we go. So these are the key ingredients that we use to do homotherapy, Agnihotra. And like I said, this is simple. Anyone can do it. These are ingredients that you can easily get. And this is your way of being able to purify the air, cleanse your soil, fortify the plants and trees in your area. It cleanses water. A lot of people use the resultant ash of this Ayurvedic process to cleanse water. They use it for healings, for various health complaints. So this is a very powerful Ayurvedic process that does reverse pollution. They have scientific studies that have been done all over the world. Not many studies done here in the U.S. that tell you, the power of it cleansing the air and the water and helping with farming. They call it Homa farming, like Sri Charles was saying. So I'm going to go back to him so we can continue our discussion here about the power of Agnihotra homotherapy to save the planet.
Well, the next topic I'd like to talk about and share with you is about the insects. So when you say insects, because of the pollution and that's the effect that it has, what's happening with the insects is some of the insects are dying out now. When you say that, some people are, we glad, something like that. But there is what you call the equilibrium. And in the ecosystem, certain things that you need. So you need to have that as far as the insect. You have good insects and bad insects. And because of pollution and radiation in certain places, I have to bring up Chernobyl, but certain places like that, the radiation affects that which is called the insects. So the insects that you see some today are not in compliance with insects normally should be by. You see, and that's what gets people disturbed. So I get bit by an insect, but it doesn't have the same effect because the ecosystem is off. So they say, oh, that sounds very, very minute, but it's not.
We'll talk about all these things that happen with the water, with these.
But you got an ecosystem, and you need to pay attention to the ecosystem and address the ecosystem. But not only does the insects get affected, but you're talking about the marine life, the plankton, and that get affected. So now you see the results of the plankton because you see how the fish are trying to get out of the water sometimes. There are dead zones in the water, dead zones all over. And the plastic, someone says, is the primary thing, but it's not just the plastic. When it rains acid rain. So when the sun draws the water back up, it's pulling up the pollution also.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so you got to understand the ecosystem. And most important, we're going to talk a little bit more about is the toxins that exist on the planet and within the planet. So we have to talk about the toxin. So now these terms, you go.
Okay, and so to further what he was talking about with the plants, with the marine life and things like that, you may have heard that I think Louisiana they found another brain-eating organism in the water. This is what's happening when everything is off, and in the scientific principle called man, microbes, flora, fauna. If one of those things and that list is off, then it throws everything off. So you have acidic rain, because of the temperature rising. We all know that, corals and coral reefs and things like that in the ocean are being destroyed because of the acid. I mean, the shells are dissolving off of oysters and other marine life that have the shells because it's too acidic. So what do you think is happening? You think it's just disappearing when it rains or there's condensation and all that stuff going on? No, it's not. It settles into the soil. It settles into water supplies that we drink, and then you have these instances where you have someone that catches this the brain eating disorders, and it eats away at the flesh, and that's because we have caused this imbalance in nature. What is the next area you want to hit upon?
Let's take that imbalance there. The first thing that applies, if you have an imbalance, we introduce to you again this Agnihotra Homa therapy. So, for example, if they're having tremendous problems off the coast of California, and you want to reset that, if you're talking about man, microflora, fauna, then you have to introduce some energy to it. So that energy that needs to be introduced is Agnihotra Homa fire. There's something special about this Homa fire that it counteracts all these different things that you talk about. So as we talk to you about a list of things that there to be talked about, we can share with you that, again, that incidence can be counteracted with that which is called the Homa fire. Now, how do we do that? Well, again, we're saying this Homa fire here before you now is called the Viruti Homa, and we refer to it as the Bhuswaha. It can be done any time of day, anytime. You see? You can carry it on for 4 hours. You can carry it on for 24 hours. In one place, we carried it on for 15 years, never letting it stop. So what we're not just talking about climate change and you, but we're sharing with you now the solution to that. And all we had to do is do it yourself. The thing of climate change and you is there's an easy solution to it. It's not complicated. Man himself makes it complicated. All we saying to you, learn how to do this fire. Go in your closet, go in your bathroom, go in the woods. Just go by yourself and do it and watch the effect. They have something now in scientists called the oscilloscope, and they can detect the smallest things. So we have challenged the scientists to try this and do any kind of experiment you want with it to make sure that we are not the ones that are affecting the results that you get. It changes the blood system. It changes all these things, not just in natural plant life without man, but with man included. For example, we'll pass it on to Dee, but talking about the toxins and the various types of toxins and how it can be, eliminated through the Homa fire.
Okay, so this is the Homa fire here. Now, just a note, this is not Agnihotra. This is done. You can do this any time of the day in addition to doing Agnihotra.
So let's for example, let's say the mantra together again. So with the Viruti Homa, Bhuswaha, the first line is Bhuswaha, Agnaye Idam Namama, Bhuswaha, Vayawe Idam Namama, Swaha, Suryaya Idam Namama, Bhur Bhuvasvat Swaha Prajapataye Idam Namama. So after each line, you add a drop of ghee. You add a drop of ghee, and drop of ghee, and drop of ghee. And then you can come back with this other mantra. Om Trayambakaya Yajamahe Sugandham Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Makshiya Mamrita Swaha. Add a drop of ghee. So every time you're hearing the word Swaha, you add a drop of ghee to this part. And you keep it going, you keep it going. Then the plants will begin to rejoice. You'll find out that the soil began to change. All this we can do. Easy. You don't need much help to do that.
Okay. So, and by the way, the words that we are saying, they're Sanskrit, because like I said, this is an Ayurvedic practice, and all of the mantras are done in Sanskrit. So now we're going to be talking about...
just about the toxin. Now I'll let you say some more things about the toxins that exist today, okay? So you see?
Okay, so first of all, you have to remember that we've created unnatural elements. So, you have, your periodical table that lists all the, how many elements are there?
There's over 90 elements.
Over 90 elements. Natural elements. So when you're creating unnatural elements, scientists are not really seeing like how that throws everything off. But when you're adding something, you're changing the recipe of life itself, and you create toxic environments. So with Agnihotra, when you're doing Agnihotra, there are some byproducts that come from doing the fire. You have ethylene oxide, propylene oxide, formaldehyde, butaprolactone, and acid.
And
then acetylene. Those are the gases that are emitted when you do Agnihotra. And if you go to Google Scholar, you'll be able to look up to see these are the things that when they've done scientific studies in other countries, what happens when you do Agnihotra or any type of Homa fire therapy. And so these gases come in and they cleanse the air. And when you do Agnihotra, it goes 8 miles up, and it's a 2-mile radius. So when you're doing this, that is the area that is cleansing in your community, your neighborhood. So that's really beneficial for actually healing what's happening with the pollution that is going on. And let's also talk about, when you're talking about toxins, we have toxins. All of our drinking water is tainted. The air is tainted. Now we're talking about, they were talking about the 5G. That's pollution. You're not really 4G is pollution. If you look in a cell phone, when you buy a new cell phone, look in the manual, you're not supposed to even have your cell phone close to your body. And people are walking around with their cell phones, shopping in stores and eating dinner with their cell phones. That's creating pollution. And it creates toxins actually inside your own body. So you can go look this up. I'm not making this up. About to look up EMF and 5G and 4G. And now they're talking about rolling out 5G all over the world. It's not healthy. It's not good for the planet. And it's not good. It's definitely not good for us and the animals. So you have all these toxins that build up. And then you wonder why you have all these different health issues that people have. You see it even affects the animals, how they hibernate, their activities, when plants are growing and how they grow. It affects everything.
The balancing thing of all of this is, of course, is the fire. We can't let you get away from that because it's the solution. Right now, so many things are happening on the planet and off the planet. So anytime you have what is pollution on this earth, when the sun dries it up, it goes into the cosmos, it goes into the atmosphere. And that's the biggest challenge that we have to accept and deal with. So if it goes up, it's going to come down. When it rains tremendous pollution and affects things tremendously. So there's no one that has a safe haven. If you think you're having a safe haven, then you're just imagining things. You're imagining things. This process here, again, of Agnihotra Homa therapy, it's say easily. We can teach anybody. I teach you. You do what it is. and you'll be your own scientist. So some of the things that we have challenged people here as scientists, when they started mentioning the gases, I went to one university up in Midwest, and the moment I mentioned the various gases that's there, he immediately eyes lit up. That makes sense. Why? Because acetylene, just pulls everything out. But the basic ingredient you don't know about is brutopyrolictone. So what is that word? It's deep in the Vedas, I saw. Deep in the Vedas, brutopyrolictone. So I don't care where you are or what you're doing. Homotherapy we can teach. And we teach that very, very easy, very free. We come and tell you, we can get on here and tell you how to do that. Send you ingredients, or you get your own ingredients. We tell you find the ingredients. You'll do that yourself. There's no solution. There's nothing. I challenge them. The residue, the ash from Agnihotra, it alone will neutralize this radioactivity. It will do that. I mentioned that to somebody in California and somebody in, Seattle, Washington. You come here, you go to this place where they had problems with this nuclear reactor and nuclear waste and see what you do. I will come. I will come. But I just don't want you to think it's me. I will teach you how, and I remove myself. And then you'll see the effect is the same.
Yes.
So at this time, again, I was telling you about the barium and cadmium, the nutrient, the nitrogen, all those things are fusing together, which means they're creating a whole different element. And because of that different element, it's causing tremendous, tremendous problem on the planet and around the planet. The planet don't even rotate on its axis anymore. That is crazy.
Yeah, the tilt is off.
So they don't want to tell you, but we're here to tell you. And to tell you again, the subtlety and the power of this fire can reset everything at its simplest level.
Yeah, so let's get back. Of course, we always are talking about science. I just want to interject in here. We use as part of our teaching material the climate assessment report, in which the U.S. government did an extensive study with the EPA, the Department of Interior, the Smithsonian Institute. I mean, gosh, more than 400 or 500 experts and scientists have said that most of the climate change and pollution issues are man-made. And if you look on, I'll post the website links to the study. So we start with that, showing what the problems are. And then we always lead with the science. And so, like I said, go to Google Scholar. You can check out a lot of the scientific articles talking about Homa farming and Agnihotra and all of that. But even beyond that, experience it yourself. Like Sri Charles was saying, you can get a pyramid, you can get a kit, you don't even have to buy it from us, and you can see the effect, how it not only does it cleanse your environment, it calms you. You as a whole family can do this as a way to be more at peace and to help heal yourself while you're healing the planet. So we believe that all people are scientists. The original scientists that walked upon the earth were people that just simply observed things, noted the results, told someone else about it, and they repeated that. So you are a scientist. You don't have to depend on all of these studies. The studies are great, but you are a scientist. It's going to be we the people that are able to solve the problem, not the governments from across the world. It's we the people. So I just want to jump in and say that.
Well, I want to get back to that, which is called the water, because water is one of the major problems that's before us now. So we have some friends out in California. We have some friends in Washington. We have friends all over that are inviting us to come there and give them some type of description of what we're talking about. Let them understand what can be done. One of the biggest things we have is fresh water. We don't have much fresh water. If you get bottled water a lot of time, that's not fresh. So you have to learn how to purify the water yourself. How do we do that? Well, it always pays to boil your water. Boil the water and get some things out of there. See, the water is not purified like they say it is because they always change the recipe. This is what we call safe water. Well, wasn't that safe last time? Well, our demand was much higher. Mm-hmm. So you lower the
standards.
Now they can do that. It's safe. So all the time you hear about Flint, Michigan, everybody knows around the world, and all up in that area, a lot of people are dying from that which is called what? Not so good water. Not so good water. If you do and learn about the simplicity of this Agnihotra, which is done at exactly the right time the sun rises and exactly the time set. You see, both of these nostrils is open up automatically. If both of the nostrils open up, you're getting tremendous power that comes from the cosmos. You can't stop it. You have nothing to do with it. It's Mother Nature's way of saying, I love you, baby, and I trust you, baby, and I'm giving this to you, baby. Okay, that's all it's saying to you. It is not asking anything. But if you do the fire, there's certain nutrients that's happening at that particular time that you activate. There's a certain sound vibration that you can hear. It's a tune that tunes you in, not out. It tunes you into a whole nother level. All you got to do is learn how to do the simplicity Agnihotra. You don't have to follow nobody. Just follow the fire. Do what it does. Okay? That's all you have to do. Okay? So let me say one other thing, because we got to talk about something else. And one thing is what they call the solarium, and that is what we live in. All these things began to happen. See, and we'll talk about that, because now today they're talking a lot about what is called the spaceships.
Oh yeah, all the all the headlines about the UFOs.
No, you can talk about that.
No, now. Oh my gosh, no! Because I posted on my Facebook page. You know, all the major media outlets are talking about UFOs, and everybody's talking about that. And of course, I'm not surprised, because what do you think happens? Whatever we do on this planet, it affects the solar system and other planets. And then think about this, we have all these satellites floating around, monitoring things, as well as providing us with cell phone service and all these other things that we use. But you're polluting outer space. So it's no surprise to me that the UFOs are now, quote unquote, being revealed. Oh, they're here. All these Navy pilots are saying that they're here. Is because now things cannot be hidden anymore. It has gotten to the point of total destruction on our planet, our mother planet, that these aliens, or I would say higher beings, are saying, hey, you people down here, you need to get it together.
So one of the things that is not being revealed has been revealed a long time ago, you see, is that solar system that we live in. We are not the highest and the most intelligent beings within that. There are some beings there that are much higher than we are, much more intelligent than we are. So because of that, and what our planet is doing in the sense of how it's affecting all the other planets in the universe, this what you call UFOs have been making themselves known because they see the reluctancy of our people here to do that. So what can we do? So now there's certain energies that are being coming to the planet. What kind of energy? You see beams coming to that. No, they don't exist, liar. Okay, you see? You see, that's what's happening. There's too many documents to say that. So by divine grace, if I can use that terminology, I have sat with some wise men in the jungles. They always told me, Charles, go back and tell the people they need to pay attention to the planet. So what has happened now, it is so polluted. Mm-hmm. So polluted. We're probably at the brink of total destruction. That is what they say. You see? Then from this planet, certain planets you see rings around that was not there. You find a magnetic pull that was not there. So not only are we talking about climate change for here, what we're talking about through all the universe. All the universe. And you can do something very simple by learning how to do the simple practice of Agnihotra. Again, in the morning you go Suryaya Swaha, Suryaya Idam Namama, Prajapataye Swaha, Prajapataye Idam Namama. And just remember, every time you say the Agnihotra mantra, you just take a little pinch of rice and drop it in. You'll see that that's not get difficult. So I ask all the top scientists, if you know one, tell them to listen. Tell them to listen, because it is very crucial now. There's what you see as now what you call flying saucers. There are many. And they will expose themselves to you as being what they are. They are sending certain energies and certain messages to the planet. Not just this race of people, all races of people. And not just your country, all countries are getting it. And we support them as they receive this new message of how to cleanse and protect our planet and to keep it as it is in a new perspective. Oh, do you take it now? I get too emotional.
Okay, we were talking about this, that, you know, people were going to be probably not liking some of the things that we said, but the truth cannot be contained any longer. And you're going to see more headlines about, like what we've seen the last 2 weeks, about all of these UFOs. You're going to see more because you can't hide it anymore. I mean, just like with the water and what's happening in our oceans. And just for example, what do you think happened in Florida with, you know, they had the overgrowth of the algae, and then they had the runoff of the pesticides, and they had all this stuff happening recently. You think that's resolved just because it's not on the news anymore? No. You still have this problem. And so you have to put something back in there to clean the environment. And like I said, we have so many different sources of pollution that's affecting the climate. You know, we are in a climate crisis, so we need to start saying that, as opposed to saying climate change. And a lot of these studies is saying, oh, we have 12 years before we're at the point of no return. I beg to differ. They're not going to tell you that. That would cause a worldwide panic. It would cause wars and violence and rioting and all sorts of things. I think we have way less than that. We probably have like maybe 3 or 4 years, in my opinion, because they're not going to tell you the entire truth. And we're here to tell you about that. So once again, let me just show you the fire. We're talking about the Ayurvedic solution to climate change and pollution, which is called Agnihotra Homa theory. This is an Ayurvedic practice that's done in a copper pyramid. And if you joined us at the very beginning, you saw us start this, the homotherapy at the beginning of the broadcast. And all you need is cow dung, which is dried cow dung. This is the ghee. Can you see that, everybody? Ghee is simply just unsalted butter that you boil down. And then you have brown rice, which, let's see if you can see that. Brown rice. Oh yeah, my arm is right in the fire. And so these are the ingredients that we use for Agnihotra. And Sri Charles, he's been doing homotherapy for more than 43 years. And he has a 13-acre farm in Tuskegee. And so the energy is very strong there. Plants grow very well. They have good plant yield, very nutritious. I was just saying, when I pick rosemary from there, I mean, I try, even if I buy organic rosemary, if I can't go over there and get it, it doesn't compare. It's a long leaf, the stem that it's on. It smells stronger, and it has very potent results. So for all you all that are into gardening and farming, this is a way for you to grow your own food that is healthy and nutritious, because you really cannot trust what they're doing. I mean, we were just saying the other day, Roundup is still being sold, and I mean, we've seen it in Lowe's and in Home Depot, and they've already got, I think it's 2 or 3 lawsuits where people have been like, no, this has caused cancer. Why is this even still being sold? It's we, the people, that are going to have to take charge and be able to solve this problem of pollution. And if you look at history of what Martin Luther King Jr. did and what Gandhi did, they went to regular people. The guy on the street corner, the guy that worked in the, on the corner store or something, regular people, poor people, they're the ones that made a change in a movement. And so we have to do the same thing. We have to take regular people that care about the planet, because the government does not care. The government's not going to be able to feed all these people. We got a problem with the bees disappearing. Do you understand what's going to happen if you have to hand pollinate, to grow food? People will starve. You won't be able to grow. I mean, you won't be able to run up to Whole Foods or to a health food store to get your food. You're gonna have to be able to feed your own family. Okay, so that's the point that we're at now. So we're going to conclude here with some finishing remarks from Sri Charles, and then, because we don't want to make this too long.
Yeah, but I don't want to go. Okay, I don't want to. There's so much information to talk about. Let me see. One last thing I would say. That's it. The planet communication. In the planet communication, there's so much that's happening because of what is taking place on the Earth axis. The communication then with computers, you see, telephones, all those different things that are related to that, there will be severe problems. And it will be caused by the planet rotation. Some people don't think so, don't think we know what we do, but we challenge them in the sense of what we know. A lot of these things are still told ahead of time, and some people listen, some don't. I would tell you there's a big challenge ahead for us in all aspects of our existence. Scientists will not be able to find an answer. They will be dumb, you say, dumbified if I had to say that they will be dumbified by some of the things that they find out.
Mm-hmm.
And they will want to understand how we know about those things. I went to visit some time ago. They say, how do you know about these things before it happened? We can't tell all the truth of people because they will be afraid. They will panic. Don't panic. Just look us up. Do the Agnihotra for those people that are panicking. It's easy to do. You don't want nothing back. Only thing we're asking you to do is help us save the planet.
Yes.
We challenge any organization out there that has an antidote to give mankind freely and step back out the way and let him do his thing. The whole idea is to take the product or the methodology and let the whole world know about it. The whole world needs to know. I don't care where you are. If you're in the bush and you think that worked for you, sorry, the planet is too toxic. You see, if you're in mainstream, you got the biggest, the biggest house.
With solar panels and
all this stuff.
Yeah,
Whatever you think you got, sorry.
It's not solving the problem.
It's not solving the major problem, which includes everybody. I think Martin did it best, Martin and Mahatma. When they did it so good, they took their lives. That's the real. They exemplify love at the highest of level. Until all of us as human beings come together as human beings and say we can't take it anymore. We refuse to do those things that's not involving the environment. We refuse to be happy for a few minutes when we can be happy for a lifetime. That's what we say unto them. We say this, I challenge you, because we, the people, come together. We, the people, have the right to have a happy life and a safe life. We demand that as a human being. So we say unto you the next time, we hope you've gotten something out of this. Something. If it's nothing but just be full of love. The moment you see somebody need help, irregardless as to what race they are, you should run to help them. Because we are human beings first. And we need that love vibration to balance us out. So I say unto you, lastly, so be it. Please understand.
Okay, wow, that was powerful. So thanks everyone for tuning in to this week's session of Climate Change and You, the Solution, with Sri Charles Davis out of Tuskegee, Alabama. He runs Shanti Villa Institute and Heal the Atmosphere Association, which is the environmental organization. We work, as a matter of fact, we're going to be working with Chairman Commissioner Maxwell with the Going Green program there in Alabama to teach the kids about all these things that we're talking about, because the kids are the future and we have to train them how to fix all this mess that we've made. So we're going to be doing that and doing some things here. I'm Shanti Atlanta, which is the Atlanta campus of Shanti Villa Institute. I'm here in Conyers, Georgia. So for anyone local to the Atlanta area, please call me, DM me, call me. And you're welcome to come by. I can show you the Agnihotra homotherapy process and get you started quickly with doing Agnihotra homotherapy. So thanks so much to everyone for joining us today. Be blessed, and Om Shri.